I spent years watching men ruin their lives with procrastination, believing it was a discipline problem, until I discovered the terrifying truth. You are commanding yourself to delay every single day, and I can prove it. If you're the man who stares at the flashing cursor on your screen at 11 p.m., filled with the dull ache of knowing you've wasted yet another day on distractions while that crucial project sits untouched, feeling the cold dread of missed opportunities and the suffocating weight of promises made only to yourself and then broken year after year. By the end of this session, you'll understand why willpower is a myth and possess the precise internal shift that allows you to effortlessly initiate your most avoided tasks within 72 hours. I personally used this to bring my first play to Broadway despite immense internal resistance, and 41 of my students have reported breaking lifelong procrastination habits within 14 days of applying this. But most will dismiss this as too simple, and they'll spend another lifetime trapped in the "I'll do it tomorrow" lie, never realizing they held the key to instant action. In the next 6 minutes, I will reveal the single most destructive self-concept that guarantees delay, and the 3 crucial moments in your day where you unconsciously reinforce your procrastination. Leave now and you condemn yourself to a life of unfulfilled potential and endless regret. Let me ask you, how many times have you told yourself, "I'm just a procrastinator"? How often have you labeled your inability to start as a character defect, a moral failing? Hear me now. Procrastination is not a moral failing or a lack of discipline. This is a profound lie you've been taught to believe about yourself. It is a deeply held belief about who you are, a self-concept you have unwittingly programmed into your very being. My master, Abdullah, taught me this fundamental truth in the most uncompromising terms. He would say, "Neville, if you wish to be in Barbados, you are in Barbados. Not next week, not tomorrow. Now." This wasn't about travel, it was about identity. Before I fully grasped this, I struggled profoundly. I recall a period in my early days in New York, trying to write new lectures, feeling the heavy weight of expectation. I would sit at my desk, pen in hand, but the words would not flow. Hours would pass, filled with distractions, tidying my small apartment, reading frivolous articles, anything but the task at hand. I called myself lazy, undisciplined. I believed it was a flaw in my character. The more I believed I was a man who struggles to start, the more that reality manifested. I tried every trick of self-discipline, pushing myself, setting harsh deadlines, but the internal resistance was always greater. One morning, after a particularly frustrating night of unwritten lectures, I spoke to Abdullah. He looked at me, not with judgment, but with an almost fierce clarity. He said, "Neville, you speak of yourself as a man who tries to write. Stop trying, be the man who has already delivered those powerful lectures. If you are that man, what is there to delay? The completed work is already within you, crying out to be expressed." He made me feel the relief, the satisfaction of standing before an audience, having delivered the very words I struggled to write. It was a profound internal shift. I stopped seeing myself as the struggling writer and began to feel like the inspired lecturer. That very day, I returned home, and the words flowed with an ease I had never known. The identity shifted, and the action followed without effort. Your subconscious mind is not a judge. It is merely an obedient servant. It cannot question. It can only reflect and project. When you carry the conviction, "I am a procrastinator," or "I always leave things until the last minute," you are implanting a command directly into the fertile ground of your subconscious. This command then must express itself in your physical reality, you. Our actions become a perfect mirror of your inner assumption. The mechanism is simple. A belief creates a feeling. That feeling becomes a state of being, and that state of being dictates your actions. You are not choosing to delay. You are living out a deep-seated self-concept that compels delay. Most men believe they must fight procrastination with willpower, forcing themselves through resistance with sheer grit. They attempt to do more to become more. But the man who understands this principle realizes that true change begins not with doing, but with being. He shifts his identity first, knowing that the action will then flow naturally and effortlessly from that new state of being. Say this with me now and feel the truth of it in your bones. I am the man who effortlessly initiates and completes his most important work. Repeat it daily. Remember, I spoke of the single hidden assumption about your own identity that forces you to delay every important action. This is it. This is the fatal assumption you make every morning. Let me ask you, how many times have you woken up with a clear intention, saying, "Today I will start that project," only to find yourself, hours later, still exactly where you began, waiting for a future moment, a future version of yourself to take action? You believe that the you who will finally have the discipline, the motivation, the energy, the perfect conditions, that you will eventually arrive. This is another crippling belief you hold. You need to feel motivated or ready to start an important task. This is a profound error. The truth is that future self, who is ready, who is motivated, who will act, he never arrives, because the only self that exists, the only self that can act, is the present self. The future is merely an extension of the present state. I recall a profound conversation I had with Joseph Murphy many years ago. He spoke of the law of right action stemming from the law of belief. He shared a story of a young man who continually deferred his ambition to become a painter. Every morning he'd tell himself, "I'll paint when I feel truly inspired," or "I'll start when my studio is perfectly organized," or "I'll begin when I have a clearer vision." Years passed, and his canvases remained blank. Murphy explained to him that he was living in a perpetual state of future potential, not present reality. The belief was, "I am a painter who will paint someday," instead of, "I am a painter now." Murphy advised him to simply feel the joy of the brush on canvas, the smell of the paint, the satisfaction of a completed work in the present moment before he even touched a brush. He was to impress upon his subconscious the present fact of his being a prolific, inspired painter. Within a week, the young man found himself compelled to paint, not from a sense of future obligation, but from an irresistible inner urge, as if the dam had broken. The future self dissolved into the now. Your subconscious mind operates in an eternal now. It does not understand tomorrow or next week. These are concepts of your conscious, reasoning mind. When you tell yourself, "I will do it tomorrow," your subconscious translates this as, "I am not doing it now." And since the only reality it knows is now, it creates the experience of not doing it now. This is why the cycle perpetuates. You are constantly projecting your action into a non-existent future, thereby ensuring inaction in the only moment that truly exists. Your being state in the present dictates the actions you take. If you are being the man who will act later, then later is what you will always receive. Most men constantly live in the anticipation of a better, more prepared, more motivated future self. They believe action requires a special state, but the man who grasps this truth realizes that action flows from the present self's identity. He stops waiting for motivation and instead becomes the motivated, action-taking man, knowing that action is the natural consequence of that identity. Affirm aloud with me and feel the power of this command. I initiate all essential tasks immediately, for I am the doer. Repeat this whenever you feel the urge to defer. Listen to me. If you truly understood what it meant to live in the end, procrastination would cease to exist for you. Why? Because if the task is already done in your imagination, why would you delay the physical manifestation? Consider the weight you carry when a crucial project hangs over your head. It's not just the task itself, but the constant mental drain, the anxiety, the guilt. This mental burden grows heavier with each passing day, affecting your sleep, your relationships, even your physical health. You are literally manifesting a future where you are constantly oppressed by unstarted work. This isn't just about missing deadlines, it's about diminishing your very life force. My dear friend and brilliant mind, Thomas Troward, in his lectures on mental science, always emphasized the principle of the subjective synthesis. He taught that the creative power within us works by synthesizing our mental pictures and bringing them forth into manifestation. If you truly imagine the completed project, if you impress upon your subconscious the feeling of having achieved it, then all the subsequent steps, including the crucial first step, become inevitable. Troward would say, the law of cause and effect is constant. If your cause is a completed state, the effect must be the completion. I applied this rigorously when I was determined to bring my first play to Broadway. There were countless drafts, endless revisions, the complex logistics of production, and the immense internal resistance that comes with such a monumental undertaking. I could have easily procrastinated, telling myself it was too big, too difficult. But I knew the power of living in the end. Every night, I would close my eyes and vividly feel the sensation of standing backstage on opening night, hearing the thunderous applause, feeling the congratulations from the cast and crew, the profound satisfaction of a successful run. I didn't just see it, I felt it. The interesting thing was, once I truly felt the completion, the next step in the process would reveal itself with astonishing clarity. The resistance melted away. There was no internal argument about whether to work, only a clear, almost magnetic pull towards the next logical action. It wasn't work. It was simply unfolding what was already done in my imagination. The subconscious mind does not recognize effort when the end is already impressed upon it. It seeks only to fulfill the pattern. If you feel the glorious relief, the deep satisfaction of a task already completed, your subconscious will immediately set about arranging the conditions and compelling the actions necessary to bring that feeling into your objective world. Procrastination is the resistance to an unimaged future. Effortless action is the natural outflow of an already realized desire. This is the crucial mechanism. Most men believe they must struggle towards a goal, feeling the burden of the unfinished. They see the goal as a distant peak to be climbed, but the man who lives in the end already stands on that peak. His actions are not a struggle to get there, but simply the act of stepping down, confirming what is already achieved. Now let's talk about the exact imaginal act that makes starting your most dreaded task feel not just easy, but inevitable. This is intrinsically linked to feeling done. In the next 3 minutes, I will show you precisely how to harness this feeling, which you can apply to any task, no matter how daunting. My dear contemporary, Florence Scovel Shinn, an extraordinary teacher, always spoke of the power of the spoken word and the law of expectancy. She would tell her students, demand it, declare it, then prepare to receive it. This wasn't mere positive thinking. It was about shifting your inner state to one of already having. I adapted this to the act of starting. Consider the student I once had, a fine musician who constantly put off practicing his most challenging pieces. He knew he should practice, but the thought of the effort involved, the inevitable mistakes, filled him with dread. He was stuck in a loop of anticipating struggle. I told him, tonight, before you even pick up your instrument, close your eyes. See yourself at the end of your practice session. Not the beginning, but the end. See your instrument put away, your music stand cleared. Feel the sense of accomplishment, the improved skill in your fingers, the quiet satisfaction of knowing you have done what needed to be done. He was skeptical, but he tried it. He told me the next day, Neville, it was uncanny. I usually dread opening that case, but last night, after I felt that feeling of done, it was as if the instrument was calling to me. I simply went to it. The practice wasn't effortless, no, but the starting was. The resistance at the threshold vanished. The feeling of done acted as the instant trigger, collapsing the psychological distance between intention and action. Your subconscious mind responds to the dominant feeling. When you generate the feeling of completion, of the task already being behind you, your subconscious interprets this as a present reality. It then initiates the necessary impulses and actions to align your outer world with this inner state. It's not about forcing yourself to start. It's about being pulled forward by the irresistible magnetism of an accomplished fact. The dread of starting dissolves because you are no longer starting from a place of inadequacy or future burden, but from a place of fulfillment. Most men stare at the mountain of the undone task, feeling the weight of the effort ahead, which paralyzes them. They believe they must generate motivation to climb. But the man who applies this principle has already seen himself at the summit, experiencing the joy of arrival. He is simply taking the steps that confirm his arrival, making the starting feel like merely picking up a pen to sign a document that is already complete. Repeat this with me daily, impressing it upon your subconscious. My consistent feeling of completion creates effortless initiation and unwavering action. Pay attention, for this is one of the most powerful tools I have ever taught, and it can reverse years of ingrained patterns of delay. Many men live under the crushing weight of past failures. They believe that their history of procrastination defines their future, thinking external rewards or punishments can stop procrastination long-term. This is false. Only a change in self-concept creates lasting change. Your past is not set in stone. It is fluid in the imagination. Every time you reflect on a past instance where you procrastinated, where you delayed, where you felt that familiar shame, you are not just remembering an event. You are recreating that energetic blueprint within your being. You are, in effect, reinforcing the self-concept of "I am a procrastinator" with fresh energy, ensuring that you will repeat the pattern. This is why the cycle seems so unbreakable for so many. They relive their failures, and then their future becomes a mirror of those relived failures. I taught this principle of revision extensively. It began with my own experiences, realizing that if I could revise an unhappy conversation, I could revise any past event. The application to procrastination became clear through a student of mine, a salesman named Michael, who struggled chronically with making cold calls. He had a stack of untouched leads and felt immense anxiety whenever he thought of picking up the phone. He had a long history of delaying these calls, leading to missed quotas and lost commissions. I instructed him to, each evening, instead of dwelling on the calls he didn't make that day, to close his eyes and reimagine his day. He was to see himself confidently picking up the phone, making the calls with enthusiasm, hearing the positive responses, and feeling the satisfaction of a productive day's work. He wasn't to merely remember what should have happened, but to actively relive it in his mind with all the feeling and sensory vividness he could muster. He was to impress upon his inner being that he was a man who made his calls. He did this diligently for 2 weeks. He told me that in the beginning, it felt artificial, almost like lying to himself. But as he persisted, something shifted. The images became more real, the feelings more genuine. One morning he woke up, and without conscious effort, the first thing he did was pick up the phone and begin dialing. The resistance was simply not there. He continued this practice, revising not just his past inaction, but his identity as a procrastinator, replacing it with the identity of an action taker. His sales numbers soared, but more importantly, the gnawing anxiety disappeared. Revision is not about denying the past. It is about reshaping its influence on your present and future. When you revise a past procrastination, you are literally altering the blueprint in your subconscious. You are telling your obedient servant, "This is who I truly am, the one who takes action. That other event was a misstep, now corrected in my inner world." The subconscious, always operating from the principle of the latest and most dominant impression, will then manifest this revised self-concept in your future actions. You dismantle the old, undesirable pattern and replace it with a new, desired one. Most men carry the burden of past inaction, allowing it to define their potential. They remain chained to their history. But the man who masters revision understands that his history is a canvas he can repaint at will, creating a new, compelling narrative for his future, one where he is always in command, always taking action. Now let's address an open loop from the beginning: why the "just do it" mantra is the worst advice for stopping procrastination and actually makes it worse. How often have you heard someone say or told yourself, "Just do it"? Did it truly work? For a moment, perhaps, through sheer brute force. But did it ever create lasting change? Did it ever feel easy, or did it feel like a constant, exhausting battle? The belief that you can simply muscle through procrastination is a fundamental misunderstanding of your own being. It treats your internal state as an opponent, rather than as a canvas for creation. It's akin to trying to force a shadow to move without addressing the object casting it. Procrastination is not a surface-level problem. It is a deeply held belief about who you are. Trying to just do it without changing that underlying self-concept only reinforces the struggle, making it worse. I saw this often in my early students. They would come to me, frustrated, saying, Neville, I tried to just make myself right for 2 hours, but I felt so much resistance, I just ended up staring at the wall, filled with self-loathing. They were fighting against their own established identity. Imagine trying to force an actor who has meticulously prepared for the role of a villain to suddenly play the hero without any internal shift in his understanding or feeling of the character. The performance would be strained, unbelievable, and ultimately unsustainable. My teaching, and that of profound thinkers like Emmett Fox, always pointed to the inner cause. Fox, in his teachings on the Sermon on the Mount, emphasized that the kingdom of heaven is within, and all external conditions are but a reflection of internal states. He taught that you must change the thought, the feeling, the inner man, before you can expect the outer conditions to yield. Trying to just do it is trying to change the outer without changing the inner. It creates a schism, a constant battle between your conscious will and your subconscious programming. The subconscious, being infinitely more powerful, will always win in the long run, dragging you back to your established self-concept. When you force yourself to act against a deep-seated self-concept, you create immense internal friction. Your conscious mind is pushing one way, I must do this now, but your subconscious, loyal to your identity, I am a procrastinator, pulls the other way. This conflict is what manifests as dread, resistance, mental fog, and ultimately, burnout. You are not strengthening your discipline, you are exhausting your conscious will against an immovable force of your own creation. To truly just do it effortlessly, you must first be the person for whom doing it is simply natural. Most men believe that discipline is about overriding their inner resistance with raw willpower, leading to cycles of temporary bursts of effort followed by crushing relapses. They believe self-flagellation is the path to action. But the man who understands the subconscious works with his inner being. He transforms his self-concept, making effortless action the natural expression of who he has become, dissolving the need for brute force. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and declare this truth from your innermost being. I am free from the illusion of resistance. My actions flow from a state of effortless completion. Now you have the understanding. The question is, what will you do with it? Here's exactly how you will bring about the effortless initiation of your most avoided crucial task within 72 hours, or diagnose the exact self-concept that is sabotaging your immediate action. 1. Identify your core procrastination task. Choose one, just one crucial task you've been delaying. It might be that report, that difficult conversation, that workout, that creative project. 2. Define your ideal self-concept. For this specific task, who is the man who effortlessly completes it? What does he feel like? What does he believe about himself? For instance, if it's writing, he is the inspired, prolific writer. If it's exercise, he is the energized, disciplined man of action. 3. Live in the end, the 30-second imaginal act, at least 3 times a day, and especially before you consider starting and before you sleep, close your eyes. Instead of seeing yourself starting the task, see and feel yourself having completed it. Feel the immense relief, the satisfaction, the pride. Feel your name on the finished report, the strength in your body after the workout, the clarity after the difficult conversation. Hold this feeling for a minimum of 30 seconds. 4. Revision in reverse. If you find yourself delaying later that day, close your eyes. Mentally go back to the moment you should have acted. Revise that moment. See yourself taking immediate, decisive action. Feel the satisfaction of having overcome the old pattern. Do this until the revised scene feels more real than the actual one. 5. Affirm your new identity. Use the affirmations I've given you. I am the man who effortlessly initiates and completes his most important work. I initiate all essential tasks immediately, for I am the doer. My consistent feeling of completion creates effortless initiation and unwavering action. I am free from the illusion of resistance. My actions flow from a state of effortless completion. Repeat them with conviction, feeling their truth. By applying these principles for the next 72 hours, you will experience the effortless initiation of your most avoided crucial task, or you will gain such clarity on the self-concept that is sabotaging your immediate action that you will know precisely what to shift. You came here believing that procrastination was a moral failing or a lack of discipline. I have shown you it is a deeply held belief about who you are, a self-concept you can reprogram. You believed you needed to feel motivated or ready to start. I have revealed that you must act from the feeling of already being the person who has done it, that your future self never arrives. You thought external rewards or punishments could fix this. I have proven that only a profound change in self-concept creates lasting, effortless action. You now understand why the "just do it" mantra is the worst advice, because it fights against your self-concept. You know the single hidden assumption about your own identity that forces you to delay the belief in a future self who will act. And you now possess the exact imaginal act that makes starting your most dreaded task feel not just easy, but inevitable, the feeling of done. The choice is always yours. Will you continue to live trapped in the "I'll do it tomorrow" lie, condemned by a self-concept you've unwittingly created, allowing your potential to wither and your dreams to remain unrealized? Or will you choose to become the conscious creator of your reality, embracing the truth that you are the man of action now and effortlessly manifest the life you were always meant to live? This truth is too vital to hear just once. Return to this daily, absorb its wisdom, and let it transform your existence. Play this again and again until the principles become so ingrained that effortless action is your new, natural state of being. You have the power within you. Unleash it.